Hey, this is Hey Vern on the Lost Marble Forum. I'm demonstrating a feature that appears to have been in the program for a while. I don't know how far back it goes. I don't know if other people even know it exists. I'm not sure that even Smith Micro knows this feature exists in Anime Studio. Um, I needed to keyframe points on a layer that was controlled by bones. And so I was going to attempt to write a script for it, and then discovered that this feature already exists. So I then took advantage of that and created a button that will do that for you, which I will be posting soon. It's just a button tool, a tool button that you click, and it will automatically key the points. It'll duplicate the layer and key the points on any frame, and it'll be keyed with the bone influence, so you can turn a boned layer, a bone controlled layer, into just a standard vector layer with the points moved already. And I'm just going to demonstrate how you can do it without the script. You don't need a script to do it. I just made the script to make it a little easier. Basically, what I have here is, this is the reason I created it. I have this hand file that can be posed. The fingers seem to be a little bit wonky here. Let me just see if I can. I'm just going to go in, and this will demonstrate why it's such a cool tool. I'm going to pull this finger up a little bit, pull this one out. There we go. Okay, so that's close enough. And so anyway, I have this hand file with different positions for the hand. And I was going to, pose the hand and then make switch layers out of it. And that would be very difficult without this new feature I discovered. So basically, the way it works is you just go to any frame. So here's a fist, and you take this layer. So we're on a frame. This layer is controlled by the bones. First I'm gonna duplicate it and give it a new name. So that now I have a duplicate layer that is still controlled by the bones, and this includes everything. It includes bone constraints, any type of point binding, etc., etc. Basically, what I think is it's based. The feature is based on the fact that Anime Studio doesn't update immediately in some situations. So now what's going to happen is I'm going to take and drag this duplicate layer. Let me just turn that off so you can see it a little better. I'm going to take this layer here. I'm going to drag it out. Okay, it is now outside of the bone layer, and yet the points have not moved. The points are exactly where they were when it was in the boned layer. Now technically that should not happen. And as a matter of fact, if you do anything that would cause a redraw, like there it just happened. So there's no, it's something is it just causes a redraw for some reason, and now that layer is useless. It's lost all its point motion. So I'm not gonna delete that layer. I'm just gonna put it back in the bone layer, and now it goes back the way it was. So I'm gonna select all the points, and you have to sort of do this kind of quickly because you don't want it to redraw too fast. And now you have to use the point translation tool in order to create the keys. You can't just like if you have key motion, you can't just right click on the timeline and say create keys. You have to physically touch the points with the point motion tool. So you select all points. Oh, see, select all. I just deactivated it, so I got to go back. Let's do this again. And so I'm going to drag this layer out, and I'm going to key these points. Boom. Alright, so now that probably didn't work. Let's see if that worked. Okay, it looks like it worked. So I have now created a key, and let's just make sure all the points are keyed, and they are. You can see down in the timeline that all the points excuse me, have been keyed for this vector layer. And now I go to frame 0. Of course, there's nothing on frame 0. It's still got the default motion. So now I just select all the point keys, copy, paste, and delete. And now I have a single vector layer, not influenced by bones, but it's got the exact same position as the boned layer. So now I can go back and repeat this process. It was the repeating of the process is the reason why I created a tool script for doing this. So let's go to a different position here. Let's try. And the beauty of it is you can change things before you do it. So I'm just going to adjust this finger. This seemed to be in the wrong spot. All right, so there I have that hand keyed. I'm going to do the same thing again, only this time I'm going to use my magic little button tool. Let me see if I can find it. I believe it's called Copy Bones, Split Layer. I'm trying to find. There it is. Nope, that's select keyed bones. I'm looking for it. Key point bone. There we go. Key bone points. It's in the other section. I didn't put it in the right spot in the script list. So anyway, key bone points is right there. And you want to make sure that the layer that you want to copy is selected. And then I find the script, key bone points. I click it. And I click in the layer with that tool. And now what it does is, now there's a little bit of a lag, once again, of the updating. Basically it's duplicated that layer and it drags it out of the bone layer and keys the points. So it does for you in one step, so you don't have to worry about losing the motion of the points. And then once again you can go back to frame 0 and you can copy and paste those keys. Now the interesting thing is, well, maybe the unfortunate thing is that this would be a useful feature if you could actually key all the point motion from multiple frames. Unfortunately, because it loses its positioning when you move the timeline, that is impossible at this point. Basically you're pretty much stuck with just using it for one position at a time. However, there is an advantage to this that can be helpful, is that the resulting layers are based on the same vector layer. So all the points are the same and everything's the same. If you put those layers into a switch layer, you can then use interpolated switching, which would do smooth blending from one setup to the next. And then there's another technique using switch layers where you can add the point keys back into a master layer. It's a little more involved. I should probably write a tool for that as well. But basically what that will do is, let's say you have a switch layer with interpolated points. You can combine all those switch layers into one layer with keyframes if you wanted to, for whatever purpose. Maybe for creating actions. Instead of using a switch layer, you could use the point motion as an action. But anyway, I think this feature is amazing, and I don't think Smith Micro knows about it. I've told them about it just in case they don't know. I don't remember hearing about it and reading about it in the documentation. And so I hope this is a useful bit of information. This works really well. I mean, if you had multiple layers, it's a little trickier because you'd have to do each layer one at a time. I believe that I have to do some experimenting with it as far as the updating of the layers, but it works really well, and it could be quite useful down the road. So let me just run it one more time, and there's my dog barking. I don't have a dog. And then you click in the frame, and there we go. And now we just go here and copy and paste and delete. And now we have a new layer that's keyed from that bone motion. Anyway, thanks for watching, and see you guys soon.